Verzeo. Learn here, lead anywhere. Subscribe to our Verzeo channel and tap the bell icon to receive all notifications. Download the Verzeo app and get free content access.
Hello everyone. Good evening. Let's just wait for another 2 minutes. There are a few more people who are joining. Let's just start in another 2 to 3 minutes. Hi guys. So I think it's good to start. All right. I am Nikhil. I am from Versio. I'm not sure how many of you know about Versio. So let me just give you a brief introduction of what we do and why we have gathered here today. Can you just shout out in chat that if you're able to hear me? Guys, can you hear me? Great. So yeah, I think we're good to go. Right. I'm Nikhil. I'm from Versio. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of Versio. So let me just give you guys a brief introduction. We have been operational since 3 years, and our sole goal is to upskill and train, the youth of our country. The main motive to start Versio was that we have seen there's a lot of gap between, you know, college education and what a company needs. And this is where we fit in with all the new technologies that we're training and all. So as a part of our webinar series and to promote International Women's Day tomorrow, we have with us Dr. Ishwari. She is a professor in psychology and the co-founder of Manomantra. Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, Nikhil, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Great. So, ma'am, we have around 32 people. I think we are good to go.
Okay.
Right. So, guys, we are going to also put this over YouTube for further reference. So, this webinar is solely to promote mental health, and which is still considered like a taboo all over most parts of India. And Mrs. Ishwari is here to clarify all your doubts and understand how good health and good mental health is a secret for winning successful women. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nikhil. So, yes, as Nikhil has already mentioned, we are here today to discuss about good mental health, and absolutely, it is the title is justified because it's a winning secret of successful women. So, I'm Dr. Ishwari Vadlamudi. I'm assistant professor and co-founder of Mano Mantra. Now, the first question, when I was sharing the link of this particular webinar with my friends, one of my friend, male friend has asked me this question, saying is good mental health only for women's success and not men. So let me tell you, good mental health is absolutely essential for both men and women. Because tomorrow is Women's Day, we are focusing on women's mental health today. But mental health is equally important for both men and women. But as we are progressing in, with our webinar, you will understand why we focus more on talking about women's mental health rather than men's mental health. Okay. So before starting, like I would want this session to be interactive, firstly. And second thing, it is good like whenever you are answering my question, you have any question, I'll be happy if you switch on your video. It is I feel it's very important to have that connection where we look at each other, we smile and we talk. That appears to be good. So I hope you guys are comfortable with this. It's okay if you're wearing anything. However, you are, just switch on the video when you're talking. It's absolutely fine. Okay. So, can anybody share your opinion about or your understanding about good mental health? What do you think is good mental health? Anything, whatever is your understanding. Yes, anybody would like to share your opinion on what is good mental health? Okay, there's something in the chat box. Calmness, very good. Having calmness. So according to Aditya Sharma, having calmness is good mental health. Excellent. Anybody else? Yes, you can respond through chat box. Being positive. Excellent. Excellent, Shashank. Being positive, which is very, very important aspect of having good mental health. Anybody else? What exactly comes into your mind when we discuss good mental health? Anything. Feeling positive, think in a right direction. Perfect. Shivam, perfect. Meditation, happy heart, good. Sai Giri Nandini, Subhendu, meditation, yes. So we all know, right? Like, because see, psychology is something, or mental health is something which uh, there is lot of information available nowadays in YouTube, or in Instagram, and there are lot of public figures, famous personalities coming and talking about mental health, like Deepika Padukone. So there are many personalities who are openly coming and sharing their journey of mental health and mental difficulties. Being positive, being with stress and depression free by being happy mindset and with peace of mind. Absolutely right, Aishwarya. That's the perfect one. So now the first thing, which we need to remember whenever we are talking about good mental health, there is lot of confusion, like what is good mental health. Is there something called bad mental health also? So yes, absolutely, like how you have a physical problem. Okay, so we have physical health and mental health. Now physical health is where you go to a doctor. For example, you had a fracture, you go to a doctor, doctor will suggest you an x-ray, then you will know how much percentage is your fracture or how much it is broken, and the process of recovery, everything is very clear. Unlike that, though physical health and mental health are equally important, or we give equal status, why mental health is difficult, or is because it's difficult to express. For example, when I say I'm experiencing anxiety, unlike a broken hand, I can't go anywhere and see how much is my anxiety and what can I do, how much is my depression and what is the process. So it's very difficult to express the intensity of your psychological trauma, or the intensity of your mental illness, or the difficulty you're facing to express yourself. Okay, so that is one thing which makes a major difference between a good physical health and mental health. And if we are looking at the definition, like you all have told, being able to think, feel, and react in the ways that you need. See, this statement is so powerful. Why? Because now imagine, I have clients coming in and telling us, there's a woman who comes in and she says, ma'am, I was fighting with my husband, or I was fighting with my in-law, or I'm in that conflict position. I wanted to say this, I wanted to say that, but I couldn't say at that particular point of time. Later, when I'm laid back, when I'm relaxed, at that time I was thinking, oh God, I would have told this one, I would have reacted like this, I would have expressed what exactly I feel. So we think it later, but when you are having good mental health, you will be able to, you will develop that capacity or capability to think, feel, and react when you exactly need it. Okay, and also when you want to live your life, as you are able to live your life as fully and independently as possible, that is the time we can say you are in a good mental health. Now, is it possible for us to be happy always? Anybody answer? Okay, I'll randomly pick. mm, I would like to, Pallavi, are you there? Pallavi Achigave. I'm sorry if I have pronounced it wrong. Pallavi, is it possible for a human being to be always happy? 365 days, 24 hours, every day, can you be happy? Nothing is permanent in this world. Okay, Aishwarya feels
No, ma'am.
absolutely no. Yes, somebody unmuted their mic. You want to share?
Absolutely no, ma'am.
Absolutely no. Okay. So
It's
as
very
we,
okay.
sorry?
It is very difficult to maintain a constant attitude throughout the like 365 days, as you mentioned.
Yes,
Mm.
exactly right. Exactly right. See, it's because we are human beings. We face a lot of, issues in our day-to-day life, and it is very obvious to feel low. It is very obvious to feel anxiety. It is very obvious to feel depressed. So, it's very obvious to have that low, feeling low without any reason. Like, you say today was a great day. I got appreciation from my colleagues, I got appreciation from my family that I'm doing a great job, but still you're feeling low. So yes, this is part and process of our life, that we will have these bad moods or bad days. But the thing is, how are you able to cope with it? Okay, so there are many overwhelming situations where you're really finding it difficult to cope. So I'll give you one more example. For example, I had a bad day, or I'm facing anxiety. Now what I do is, I immediately, I do something. I try to cope up by using, like you were suggesting, some of you were suggesting meditation, yoga, and I try to cope with it. When you are not able to cope with it, then it means you are not in the state of good mental health. You're holding it for a long time, you're suffering, you are troubling yourself physically and emotionally. Then it is very it's very clear that you are not in good mental health. Okay, and then having good mental health, as one of you was saying, having a positive attitude, or feeling positive about the situations or about the things happening around us, is like very very important. Okay, uh, because sometimes, people say, how can we think positive about everything or feel positive about everything? Of course you can. There is, like, if something bad has happened, or I have lost my job, then, yes, initially I feel bad that, I've lost a job. It's really important for me. I really like that job, but due to pandemic I have lost it. But I always go with this attitude that something better is about to come. Something better is going to happen. This situation will not be the same always. So having this kind of, attitude, where you have where you feel positive about yourself and also about others. I also observe this attitude, where you always see negative, or suspicious about others, that negative attitude towards others. So which really affects our mental health also. It's very very important to feel positive, not only about ourselves but also about others. And this attitude of positiveness will help us to form good relationships and to maintain good relationships. You're always thinking negative, about your partner, or about your job, or about yourself. That will really put you in an uncomfortable situation where you struggle to maintain relationship. Forget about having good or bad. It's difficult for you to maintain that relationship, and end of the day, it is you who is suffering. Okay, so that's the reason it's very important to have positive attitude, followed by, which helps you to form and maintain good relationships. And also you will be having the resilience to overcome the challenge. You will develop that capacity to overcome the difficulties which you are facing in our day-to-day life. So before going to the next slide, I would like to ask, the male participants, or the men in the group, like, do you really feel women and men are psychologically different? Like, for example, I have seen, some of my friends or clients jokingly saying, a women brain is like completely difficult, different. I mean, sometimes, they say, my girlfriend remembers, which date I proposed her, or what color dress she's wearing, or, she remembers all that. But unfortunately, you don't remember. Okay, so do you have any idea, like, have you experienced anything like this where you felt there is a significant difference between men and women psychologically? I would like any one of you to this, share this experience. Anyone voluntarily? Anyone? So I'll randomly pick. Is Ravi here? Ravi Ranjan? Ravi Ranjan, are you there? Have you experienced something like this? Anybody else? Ravi, yes, okay. It would you like to unmute your mic and share your opinion about this, or express your opinion about this? Okay, fine. It's okay. So I'll just show you one video. Okay. So this video is only for fun purpose, and the audio is in Hindi, so I'm sure everybody will. So though it was expressed like in a funny way, but what he has told is absolutely true. Okay, women and men are different not only in their physical attributes but also in their psychological makeup. Okay, so if you look at the male and female brain, there are actually a lot of differences, the way the brains are structured. Can you see it on screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is how a male brain is structured, and a female brain is structured. Okay, so the structure and wires are totally different. So if you observe the male brain, mostly the connections run between the hemispheres, like front and back parts of the same hemisphere. Okay, because of this particular connectome, you will observe that the spatial skills and motor muscle control skills in men are better than women. Okay, the same way, if you look at the typical female brain, okay, there are more neural connections which go side by side from left hemisphere to right hemisphere. Okay, and scientists say that because of this particular connectome, women's verbal skills and intuitive abilities are much better than men. So this very clearly, it's very clear that it's for all the men that please be very careful when you are interacting with women, because it's very evident that our verbal skills are very sharp and our intuitive abilities are very high. And of course, emotionally also we are very, very different, very expressive, and also so whenever you are thinking why we are like this, because we are made like this. Okay, so and also we differ a lot in the way we communicate, how we deal with the relationships, like how men react to the events and stimuli. The process, how they process the information, is completely different from how women react and how women process the information. Okay, that's the reason you observe there are a lot of memes on, or the jokes on women, about women's communication or women's reactions, or feelings. So of course there is a bit of exaggeration, but to some extent there is a difference how we communicate, how we express feelings, and how we react to stress. And also the gray and white matter in our brain plays an important role in the communication part and multitasking part. So men have approximately 6.5 times more gray matter than women, And if you look at the white matter, women have about 10 times more white matter than men, because of which women are mostly responsible for communication. They are able to express in a much better way when compared to the men. So for example, mostly when we are having relationship counseling, women complain, I express that I love him, or on special occasions I do this, I communicate, I do. So yes, men also might feel the same, but their communication is completely different, or their way of expressing is completely different. Okay, so too much expectations on this part really affects your relationship, and in turn affects your mental health also. And also, because of this gray matter, because of this white and gray matter, women have greater ability to do multitask when compared to men. So that's the reason, it's very important to appreciate ourselves, that we are both physically and psychologically, we are made very different, and we should be absolutely proud of what we are, and we have to understand that our capacities and capabilities are highly appreciable. Okay, now if we are looking at now before going to this section, any doubts? Like you want to share anything? You want to ask any question? You're free to do so. And I'll be very happy if you guys are communicating, if you guys talk, express any questions on this. Okay, so let's continue. How to overcome depression. Okay. See, Aishwarya, now depression in day-to-day life, nowadays, whenever if somebody is feeling low, we feel they like it's a layman language, they say I'm feeling depressed. But let me tell you that, for you to if you need to be clinically certified that you are having mild depression, moderate depression, or severe depression. So you need to visit a psychologist or a mental health counselor or a psychiatrist to decide if you really have depression. Please do not visit any Google website, and don't download any questionnaire and put a tick mark. Oh my God, I'm having all the symptoms and now I think I'm depressed. I am having depression. Okay, it's absolutely wrong. And how to overcome depression? If it is diagnosed clinically, then of course you have to use medications. Along with medications, doctors will suggest you therapies, like according to your development or according to your stage of depression. They'll suggest you which therapy is useful. Is it cognitive behavioral therapy, or is it REBT, rational emotive behavioral therapy, or any other therapy, whichever is appropriate for you, and otherwise, if you're feeling just low, because of any issue on that day, then we are going to discuss few techniques which will help you to overcome that low mood and maintain good mental health. Overthinking को कैसे कम करे, ma'am? See, Pallavi, overthinking about what? That I would like to know, because is it about your job? Is it about your personal life? You need to maintain that balance. You need to have a clarity. Why are you thinking so much? What is making you think so much about that particular issue? Now, the problem comes is most of us do not do self introspection. Like, we always wait for others to tell, okay, do this way, do that way. Nowadays, you are feeling, looking very low, or, why are you thinking so much about this issue? So instead of taking this from others, sit, write everything. Okay, writing really helps you. Write what are the things which is bothering you, what are the aspects which is troubling you so much that you're overthinking. Okay, and you need to maintain that. You need to wantedly, like consciously control. Whenever you start thinking about it, you tell to yourself, okay, fine, I started thinking about this, I shouldn't do. So instead of that, I'll take 5 deep breaths. So just take 5 deep breaths and then start working on something else. So you have to work on yourself so that you can control this overthinking, and it can be done by you. Okay, you have all the capacities to control your body and control your senses. You're capable of that. So please make sure that you have that self control and practice some mindfulness techniques which will help you relax. Why the convincing power of women is better than men? What convincing about what, Aditya or Adit? Why what convincing power? Can I know? Can you be specific? See, women convincing, how the convincing happens? Convincing happens through communication. Okay. Convincing happens through their, through their ability to, express. Right. So it is very obvious that women are good when compared to men in that particular aspect. So it's very obvious that, and also I really don't agree that they have convincing power for everything. Because if men have decided on something that, or if you have decided on something that I will not accept whatever it is, whoever comes and tells you, you will not accept. So when you have an attitude of, here and there, like you're not sure about an issue, when somebody comes in and try to convince you, you're more prone to accept that particular aspect. Okay. How to overcome inferiority complex? You need to work on your personality. Now you know that you know the problem, right? You're thinking that inferiority complex is a problem for you because some people doesn't feel it is a problem. If they see, few people are very extrovert, and normally observe that people who are introvert, they have this inferiority complex that, ma'am, we are not like them, we are not, I'm not so outgoing, I feel very low about it. Now you need to, the situations where you are feeling inferior. Are you feeling inferior about your, in front of your colleagues? Are you feeling inferior about your siblings? So you need to, why exactly are you feeling inferior? Is it because that, I have one client, from childhood, he was always compared with his brother and told, your brother is good at this, your brother is good at that, you're not up to mark, you're not up to the mark. So when we as parents instilling, okay, that social environment is that way, it's very obvious that, when you come to certain extent as an adult, you might develop inferiority complex. So you need to work on it. So this is the situation, I'm feeling inferior because you feel you have lesser knowledge than other people, you have lesser capacity to perform, and also there is fear of being judged by others, there is fear of losing. So you need to work on it, whatever, whether you're whether it's right or wrong, do it. By doing it, you are learning. Your colleagues may laugh, your superior may scold you that you have done it something wrong or something different, but at least you will overcome that, you will learn something new, and slowly you will reduce your inferiority complex. If sometimes I prepare myself for something to the fullest, just before the exam I start losing my confidence and I mess up. I could not do that well, for which I have. Most of the students have, exam anxiety.
Hello. Ma'am, sorry for interrupting, but can you switch on the video so that
You
it'll be
want
more
me to switch on my
interactive?
video?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll do that. Yeah. So I hope I'm visible because I can't see myself on screen because of whatever reason. Okay. So I prepare myself for something fullest. It's very common for the students to have exam anxiety. Before going to the exam, see, there is something called guided imagery which will really help you. Like you close your eyes and imagine yourself going and sitting in the examination hall, writing the exam. You again, you practice the same thing in your imagination for few times, then you will feel more comfortable when you are going there. And also it might be because see, exam anxiety is something, it can be because of many reasons. So there is no one solution, but of course you can do some breathing exercises, like take deep breaths and go, and also go with the confidence that, you know, it's okay. Whatever you know, you go and write. Don't go with the pressure that I have to perform very well or I have to get that grade. Just go and make sure that, you know, attempt whatever you know, attempt, you know, write whatever you understand or whatever comes to your mind. So that will be your first step. Then slowly you will gain confidence. And never think the same thing, like, you know, oh my god, I messed up the last exam, this is the same thing is going to happen again, same thing. No, same thing will not happen again if you train yourself. Everyone should remember that, you know, as an individual we have lot, as a human being there's so much within us. Okay, all the resources are available within us, you know, and we need to pull that resources and push ourselves. Please do not expect that, you know, every time you need a friend saying you'll be fine, you'll be okay. No, you be your friend, and then that will really help you. Okay, and how to reduce stress, all that we are going to discuss very soon. So yeah, now we will go back. I hope I cleared all the doubts. If anything else, you can keep posting in our group chat box, so that I'll why we feel unable to sit peacefully. That is, you know, you are not able to meditate. I'll also tell you that many people feel they have problem doing meditation. We'll be discussing that in this session. Okay, so don't worry. Now, WHO, I was telling that, you know, why women mental health is spoken a lot or discussed a lot, because the research proves that, you know, depression, anxiety, and psychological distress is 2 to 3 times more common among women than men. Okay, which clearly says that. It's very important to focus on women's mental health. And not only that, a lot of mental health issues which we observe in the elderly women, that is dementia or, you know, any brain related issues, are also mostly seen in women when compared to men. And when we are talking about the violent conflicts, civil wars, or, you know, any man-made disasters which are happening, 80% of the 50 million people who experience this you know, are mostly women and children. And the prevalence of serious mental illness is also mostly observed in women than men. That is, it's 70% greater in women when compared to men. And also women are more likely to experience post-traumatic stress disorder. For example, if there is a death of a closed one, or if they have experienced any natural disaster, women have difficulty in coping up, and they are more likely to experience post-traumatic disorder. And because of the social stress or the cultural stress, where, you know, we expect, so the societal expectations of, you know, women should look beautiful, expect them to be in that perfect shape, because of which, you know, eating disorders are also, like bulimia, anorexia nervosa is also mostly seen in women. Unfortunately, though most of the mental illness is seen in women, they are the ones who seek less treatment. They are the one who ignore mental health, and, you know, they do not approach for help, and the stigma for seeking treatment is also very high. And if we are looking at the mental health of women mental health in India, so this particular research I have taken from a thesis of Rainey Thomas. She has done it in NIMHANS. It's available online. I have given the link in the PPT. So according to mental health professionals in India, it's very common for women to be abandoned if diagnosed with mental illness. For example, if a male or a man is, a patient, a mentally ill patient, mostly wife, mother, daughter, they stay back, they take care of, the person. But however, if women is, mentally ill, then they consider her to be of no use for the household or for the family, and they become burden for the burden on their families. And also in the year 2016, National Commission for Women have released one report where they say that women are willfully abandoned, like mentally women are willfully abandoned by their families because of various reasons. First reason is social stigma. For example, if there is a daughter who is about to get married, and there is a fear in the family that if the guy's groom comes to know that mother is mentally ill, this girl might not get married. So this is one kind of social stigma. And other reasons can be poverty, lack of space at home, and sometimes husbands abandon the wives and they are taken back by their parents, and parents are obviously old caregivers, because of which they fear safety of women, and they are forced to abandon these mentally ill women or keep them in some government residential setup. So this particular facts, why am I showing, is this helps us to understand the need to focus more on mental health, because we are living in a patriarchal society. Now again, I am not blaming all the men. There are some wonderful men who are doing a great job. So recently I have read not an article, a vlog. I don't know how many of you know film actress Samira Reddy. She has her own YouTube channel. She's very active on her FB and Instagram. So she recently put something on her Facebook which really inspired me. So there are many comments in her section saying, "Oh wow, you're so lucky that your husband takes care of your children. Oh, you're so lucky he helps you in cooking." Now, the question she asked is, why am I lucky just because he's taking care of my child? Because nobody told my husband that, "Oh, wow, you're so lucky that, your wife is taking care of the child. Oh, wow, you're so lucky your wife is awake whole night and you're sleeping because, there's a small child at home. Oh, wow, you're so lucky your wife is cooking." Why aren't we saying this to men? Okay, that's the question she raised, and it's very, very important. We know we need to talk about this equality. There is nothing lucky, there is nothing unlucky. Unlike in India or in South Asian countries where we say, women say, "I am pregnant," but if you look at the Western culture, they say, "We are pregnant." So it's very important to accept that culture, that if you are planning for kids, understand that if you are pregnant, you can say, "We are pregnant," you are becoming parents, and you need to communicate very clearly about the responsibilities you are going to share. Okay, so it's completely about equality. That really helps women not to get into postpartum depression, because there are many women after delivery, they struggle because no woman is a trained mother. We are not trained from childhood how to be a good mother. There is nothing like good mother. Okay, we are not trained. There is no perfect mother. Okay, it's a roller coaster ride, and the journey will be easy if you are doing this right together. Okay, it will be helpful for both mental health of both women and men, where you're growing emotionally, you're growing psychologically, and your relationship is also becoming beautiful. Okay, so that's the reason it's very important to talk about equality, to understand that women are different. Of course you both are becoming parents, but of course you say we are pregnant, but it's ultimately women who is experiencing that 9 months journey, which is not at all an easy task. Okay, so it's very I really appreciate all the men out there who are being very supportive, who are working on women's mental health and being very supportive. Okay, and how to get rid of addiction? If it's an alcohol addiction or drug addiction, please approach the de-addiction centers. There are, nowadays they are using 12 steps program where they don't use any medications, and you can, but again, if you want to come out of it, you need lot of willpower. Okay, even alcohol addiction also, if it is social drinking, it's something different. But otherwise, what to say, it's better you go for de-addiction center. Any kind of addiction, whether it's masturbation or it is, alcohol, drugs, it's good if you approach the appropriate doctor, and also you approach the appropriate rehabilitation centers on the suggestion of your doctor, and you need that willpower to overcome any kind of addiction. Okay, which is very, very important. Any other questions, or we will move to the suggestions about how to maintain good mental health? Anything you want to ask? Okay, so how to maintain good mental health, how to be socially friendly without any fear. So the statement itself gives the answer that without any fear, you can be socially friendly. Okay, so fear is something, fear of judgment, that, they will talk about me, they'll judge me, or, they might comment on my looks. All this is stopping you to be friendly with someone or to communicate with someone. Okay, if that's the case, go ahead, talk to anyone, talk whatever comes from your heart. Be assertive, don't be rude. Your communication must be assertive, where you don't hurt others, at the same time you communicate whatever you want. Let them judge, let them comment, because it shouldn't affect you, and it shouldn't change the person you are. Okay, if you are clear about your intentions, if you are clear about what exactly you are as an individual or as an human being, all these things shouldn't matter. Just go ahead without any fear, without any apprehension. Just go and talk or interact with them. But if your nature is like that, if you are an introvert, it's completely okay. You can, you can interact wherever it is necessary. Like you are attending a conference or you are in an important meeting, you can't say I'm not socially friendly, I'm introvert. No, you need to know when exactly you have to speak up. Used to go, but nowadays I'm waking up early, but I don't get out of bed and do the regular works. So is it because of pandemic? Like in recent times, because of pandemic, there is lot of people or lot of clients who say that, we are not able to follow that routine. So if it is for time being, it's okay. See, there is no, workout is important, any kind of workout. So don't, what you say, just break your a routine workout, like, just go for a walk. If it was gym, you used to do before, you just stop that for a while, go for a walk, play shuttle, do some yoga at home, make it much simpler, and try to make it like whenever you uh, you feel low, or whenever you are, you do, like, you change it according to your comfort and your need, and you will be fine. It's all about uh, uh, just a small push. Like once you get habituated to that routine again, it's fine. There's nothing to worry. I feel like you can push yourself a bit slowly, instead of waking up at maybe you used to wake up at 6 o'clock, now you're getting up at 9 o'clock. Put an alarm at 8 o'clock, a 1 hour early, just to go for 1 hour walk, and then slowly you'll get habituated to your does masturbation cause any side effects? Yes, if it is severe, okay, of course, it has its own side effects, and it can affect the health. So there are few sexual disorders, I don't know how many of you are aware about it. So, these sexual disorders are something which uh, are mostly not diagnosed, especially in men. So it's very important to know more about these disorders, read more about it, and you can go to American Psychological Association website, which is very authentic, and you get right information. Can you provide some tips for concentrate? For concentration, you can do yoga, you can do meditation, and there are some, simple concentration exercise which are available in Google. You can, go ahead and do that. That's not an issue. You can just practice those exercises. How to overcome procrastination? Procrastination is like, what is it, like delaying, right? You are delaying. Yes, that's what you're delaying, your tasks, you're delaying what you're supposed to do. So if that's the case, you need to have this some goals, like you need to be very clear that okay, this is the time. You need to may have some kind of self discipline, where you, when we know that we have this attitude, you need to make sure that you set some realistic goals, which we will be discussing very soon. So yes, I think I'll get back to my PPT again. So the first tip to have this good mental health is value yourself. There are a lot of people who come for relationship counseling, and they say they are in an abusive relationship. Now again, in societies like India, only if the husband or somebody is hitting, or if there is only physical abuse, we call it an abuse. Emotional abuse is not abuse, not considered as an abuse. Okay, so we need to understand that both physical, emotional, verbal abuse, whatever it is abuse. Okay, they cannot do it on you. So it's very important to understand that we need why are we staying in this kind of abusive relationship where there is no value for your hard work. Lot of housewives say, I do so much, or working women say, I do so much of work life balance, and at the end of the day I do not get any appreciation. This is because firstly we don't appreciate ourselves. I'll share my own example. What happened last month, I was taking my kids for a rabies vaccination, which had to be done appropriately, like the first dose, then within 3 days the second dose, then on the 7th day the third dose. Then I don't know, but somehow it slipped my mind, and I missed the second dose, and I was uh, I took them to the third dose. And when doctor said, like, you need to repeat, like, because they have missed one, now they have to take one extra dose. I was feeling so pathetic. I was feeling so bad. I was feeling like a failure. I immediately called my friend from the hospital, and I was saying, I'm such a bad mother, I how can I forget? Now they have to go through this painful process, because after the vaccination they get fever, there'll be pain. Because of me, they are experiencing this again. I was feeling so bad, and I started telling her, no, I have to reduce my work commitments. I have to do this, I have to do that. I was so much panicking. Then my, friend was saying, it's just that you missed one dose. Nothing else has happened. Just relax, think about it. Do not take decisions like, canceling all your work commitments. Like, where are you taking this? Now, then I realized, when I calmed down, I was started thinking, I realized, okay, fine. How can I consider myself so bad? How can I think so much negative about it? Because I'm doing so much, I am contributing so much. So in this way, it's just an example where we degrade ourselves. So avoid self-criticism, value yourself, because that's where, when you start valuing yourself, when you start giving importance to your work, your life, your ambitions. That's the time when other people in the family or your colleagues or your children will start, having, valuing yourself. Okay. Mm, I can. I'll be displaying my number at the end of the session, so don't worry about it. If you want, you can contact me for personal counseling. So, who treats you poorly is, so it's because where we can't complain that others are treating me bad, because most of us, especially women, treat ourselves very badly, and we don't value ourselves, and we feel there is no self-worth, which we need to change. Okay. And the second thing is, taking care of your body is the least thing which most of the women do. And also, we overdo or we don't do. Okay. So because sometimes I met lot of people, they say, why don't you do this? Why don't you go to this diet plan? Do this. So my answer was, I am in a journey. Unless I'm doing a workout for daily half an hour, I'm taking care of my body. My aim is not to lose weight. My aim is to take care of my body, understand my body, and be happy throughout the journey. Let it take 5 years, 10 years. It's my journey. I am not going to participate in any Mrs. India pageant or anywhere where I have to have that perfect figure. Okay. So it's very important that you take care of your body, positively work on it. Okay. And which will obviously have an impact on your mental health. Good physical health will contribute good mental health. Then we have social connections with correct people, with good people. Okay. Who will contribute in your growth. Do not get into connection with just because I told have social connection now, it doesn't mean you will download Tinder or you will download some other app and start connecting to. No. Connect to the right people, connect to the friends who will really contribute in your life, who will help you when you are in the difficult times, so that you do not have to scroll. Like, some say, I open and see, like when I'm crying, I just see whom I can talk to. So it means that your social connections are pretty bad. So you need to have at least few friends, handful of friends whom you can call, talk whenever you want, plan a trip with your friends, with your family, go somewhere, break your routine, which is very, very important. And also I really appreciate, a lot of women, especially, housewives, joining some clubs or going for Zumba, where they have some good social connections. They go out for picnic, they have some fun, having in the groups. So all that is very good. So that you feel like you belong, you are appreciated, and you feel you're not always occupied with only one aspect, like family, children, work. So you need these social connections will help you to overcome that. And the next important thing is learning how to cope. We all know that we are feeling this way, like you're saying, I'm feeling inferior, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. So you need to know how to cope with this. Okay. So there are a lot of things like meditation, yoga, anything which will help you relax. Just give me a second. I'll show you my art book, and you will understand how I am coping, because I chose art therapy or art to manage my stress or to cope. I make sure that whatever is in my mind, whatever I'm experiencing, to color it out, to paint it, to put it on a canvas or a book, which really helps me to relieve. Why most of us, mainly men, thought that grooming part is only part of for women? It is because of the societal pressures. When there is a girl and a boy, the what they say, it's only for, they clearly give some aspects, right? Like men has to do this, men is supposed to do this, men is supposed to wear only blue, there is no pink. girls have to do this. So there is a clear differentiation which we all learn, okay, through social learning. We think, we develop this kind of attitude that, grooming is only for women, not for men. But I think this is changing right now. I see a lot of men going for grooming. There are a lot of parlors coming in. I see a lot of men doing makeup videos. I really appreciate that. And I think that's how the society change, and we need to encourage these kind of aspects. So if you have any doubts, just put it in the chat box. Don't worry, another 10 minutes we are done. So, I'll just get my art book. Okay, I hope you are able to see me. So whenever I feel low, I start. Is my video on? I don't know why, but I can't see myself. Okay. So, if you can see, I buy this kind of canvas and I paint whatever I feel like painting. I make sure that at least once in a month or whenever I feel low, I do some kind of painting. I'm not a great artist, but I try different strokes. I really like to be part of nature, being part of nature. So if I see something, I just try to, put it on my canvas. I imagine lot of things, a sunrise, or or sometimes, I imagine things in black and white. Like, what if it is like only black and white? And not only that, I also maintain my art journal, where I really try to, you can. I hope you can see. So some abstract paintings, when I don't feel like doing anything, when I'm confused, I just, and this is, I always encourage my kids also to go for art. See, art is something, what happens is, when you try it, okay, when you start coloring something, when you start painting something, nothing else comes to your mind. If you are looking for meditation, if you're finding it difficult to meditate, I feel art is the best way to meditate. Why? What is meditation? Focusing on one thing without thinking about, without focusing or ignoring the other aspects. So that is possible if you are doing art. So whatever comes to my mind, I just draw. And not only this, I do. So you can see I have written here my inner self, okay, or my inner essence. So this is something which I have drawn for myself. It's very abstract. So there was lot of conflict going on within myself. So I use some colors so that I'm venting it out. Okay, whatever I'm feeling, I'm just pushing it outside through my and all this is just casually done by my child. So you can always encourage kids also to go for art therapy. It really helps. And I did something like this, where it's like a self portrait. This is me. When I imagined myself, I imagined like this, like a very strong tree with very strong roots. And you can see there's so much of fire behind. So there's some kind of blue here. So I tried to put in, whatever I am feeling at that particular point of time. So if it is difficult for you to write, you can draw yourself however you want. Okay. And this is something which, which is done by my son. So it's very abstract. So the child will know what exactly they were feeling at that particular point of time, and how did I overcome all this. Okay. What am I doing to overcome all this? So this kind of art therapies will really help you to cope with the stress. Or you can also you can say it's one kind of meditation. And there are a lot of mandala art books which are available on Amazon. So you can buy that book and you can start coloring it. That really helps you. It's a stress buster and you'll feel very nice about it. Okay. and then quiet your mind. So we every day, there's so much happening in our lives, we are struggling, we have emotional problems, we have psychological problems, we have financial problems, relationship problems, what not our mind is bearing. So we need to understand, it is very important. Like, I'm talking for 1 hour, my throat is paining, or I'm not comfortable, so I take some hot water. The same way, mind also needs some kind of help. So you need to quiet your mind. How will you quiet your mind? You can quiet your mind by doing meditation, by doing yoga, or just by doing whatever you like. Okay, so spend some time with you. It's not important that you always spend time with others. You can spend time with, with yourself, which really helps you. You can listen to the music, you can take your dog for a walk, you can play with the dog, or you can, you do anything which really shut down your mind. Okay, you're just shutting your mind and focusing only on that. And the next one is set realistic goals. Okay, now if for example, when I say some clients, for example, I asked you, you set some goals. Now I can't say that I want to become thin like some heroine. I can't be like Deepika Padukone, no, that a perfect figure. Goals shouldn't be like that. They should be very realistic, they should be positive, it shouldn't cause stress, and you need to have the willingness and interest to work. Okay, you need to put in that hard work to reach that goal. Okay, all these are very important. You can't write on, on your board saying that, losing weight, or getting fit. Good, getting fit is a realistic goal, but you need to have that willingness to work towards that goal. What are you doing to develop that willingness? And also, how much hard work are you doing to reach this particular goal? Okay, and then break your routine, which I have already discussed. Okay, so it's very important, the when you're feeling stressful, sometimes just by breaking the routine, everything becomes normal. Okay, just going for 1 day trip or a small holiday, you will come back to your normal. And there's a lot of misconception that taking alcohol, cigarettes will really make you an interesting person to in the social gathering, or it will really relieve your stress. It's absolutely wrong, because you'll feel better only for a while. Later your anxiety will increase, and you'll drink more, you'll have alcohol more, and then obviously you will feel worse than ever before. And then alcohol is also a depressant. If you are feeling low, it causes more and more, and it really affects your emotional health, and the problems will increase rather than decreasing. Moreover, alcohol will also cause mood swings, which really affect your present relationship. If it is already very bad, it affects your relationship, and this will make your body feel very worse, and it also can lead to suicidal tendencies or self-harm. And the next important thing is seeking for help. There is lot of misconception that you don't seek help, rather you depend on YouTube or Google or whatever. Please go for help, ask for help, and there is nothing wrong in that. And sometimes family will not allow you to do so. So it's very important to break the stigma, talk about mental health, make sure make it a normal, like how you go to a physical doctor, the same way you're visiting a mental health practitioner. Okay, so just because someone is going to a mental health counselor, do not call them or name them. Okay, name calling is like kind of bullying, which really affects them and worsen their mental health. And the last and most important thing is self-love or self-worth. You are worthy, you're capable, you're beautiful, and all these things nobody else will tell you. You have to tell it to yourself. Okay, and you need to celebrate yourself. Do not wait for somebody to celebrate your success or celebrate your whatever is the occasion, you do whatever you want. You are capable of everything because you yourself are sufficient for everything. Okay. And also this suggestion I would like to give for everyone, when they say, I'm searching for my soulmate, I want the best partner. First you discover your soul. You don't know about yourself most of the time. Your search of a soulmate, what soulmate you're searching, there's no clarity. So you need to get a clarity on this. And the next important is, whom should I reach out? There are too many people out in the market. There are psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors. Whom should you approach? So initially you can approach a mental health counselors. Mental health counselors can be counseling psychologists, social workers who are trained, who will help you to work on your mental health, and to some extent they'll guide you, whether you are experiencing, they'll have any mental illness or not. Okay, then you can go to a psychologist and clinical psychologist, where you can have a diagnosis of depression or any kind of mental illness. If there is a need for medications, then you will visit a psychiatrist, and on the suggestion of psychiatrist and clinical psychologist, you will go for psychotherapists who are trained in a particular therapy. You will see a certified cognitive behavioral therapist and certified art therapists who will help you to overcome, or help you to maintain your good mental health. So yes, I think the session is helpful. Now you can see my number on screen. You can note down the number, and if you need any help, you can WhatsApp us. So I'll just take, there are some questions. Why do women tend to cheat in a relationship or even after a marriage? Okay, because I have heard lot of stories like this. Yes, Arjun, let me tell you that cheating in the marriage or cheating in the relationship has become very common in recent times, maybe because of the changing culture. Like previously, if you look at the cultural perspective, okay, our culture towards relationship, our culture towards marriage was very conservative, very closed, and it was like one man, one woman. But nowadays when and men are tending to explore a lot, and cheating happens when when there is no trust, when there is no communication. Okay, and sometimes even in distance relationship also it happens. After marriage, it can happen when both partners are not satisfied with each other, either sexually or emotionally, because there are a lot of women out there. I recently read a survey. It's an informal survey where most of the 70% of the women accepted that they cheated on their husband. Okay, so the reason might be, most of them have given reasons like, they feel not appreciated well. They are not what to say, emotionally they are not. It's like, after a few years it becomes like a routine, a monotonous. Okay, there's a wife, there's a husband, there are children, and it's just going on. So it's for you to have a solid relationship, or if you need to have a healthy family, or a strong relationship, you need to work on your relationship. Okay, you can't just say that when you fell in love, you are giving flowers, you are doing this, you are doing that, and then after marriage you suddenly stop doing everything. It really affects your relationship. So relationship is something which you need to work for a lifetime. Okay, it changes its phases. Okay, there'll be up, there'll be down. You need to work accordingly. You need to appreciate each other, you need to trust each other, and then it will be a good and happy ones. And also there are a lot of women or men, nowadays in open marriage or open relationship also. And if women are cheating, there's also a lot of like crime happening because of this particular reason. So we really need to understand, if the culture is changing, we need to change our perspective, and we need to understand why the relationships are breaking. If the women or men, whoever, okay, do they want to continue in this particular marriage, or do they want to walk out? There should be a clarity, and we need to be very clear about all those aspects. How to know oneself: sit with yourself, talk to yourself, maintain a journal, write some about yourself. What are your likes, what are your dislikes, where you want to travel, what is your favorite destination. So when you travel with yourself, be with yourself, then you will know yourself. I wanted to know how love oneself. You want to know how to love yourself, right? That's the question, right? So I think I have already discussed, self love is it should start from your daily routine. Like every day morning, you go, when you're brushing your teeth, look yourself at the mirror, appreciate that you are alive, you are in front of the mirror, you are able to see yourself, you are able to breathe. From that basic thing, you need to make a conscious effort to love yourself, whatever you're doing. Okay, if it was a bad day, tell yourself, it's okay, Sabrina, it's a bad day, but you will overcome it. You really tried your level best, but it's very beautiful the way you handled it. So you need to start from all these things. Okay, so I hope I answered all your questions. Any other question? We'll take one or two and then we'll wind up. Any other questions? Why the parents has forcing for to marriage? Why the marriage is getting a part of human if we having? Why to waste it just by doing the same routine? So you can say no, right? There is no force in which, see, never get married because somebody is forcing you, because it's you. Now if you ask me a question, why extramarital relationships, why all these problems, this comes from here. If you are not ready for marriage, don't marry. There is not, it's completely okay. You can marry whenever you feel like marrying. If you feel like marrying at the age of 50, very good, get married at the age of 50. Say no. Learn to say no. Be assertive. Try to explain your parents. So yes, that's, I think, and it's your life, right? Like if you have chosen, you don't want that routine, if you're very clear about it, then go ahead and lead a life that way. This is a kind of funny question, but why do women in foreign are willingly contesting their feeling, but in India they don't? Why is, what is contesting their feeling? I didn't understand that question. Can you repeat the question or ask it in some other way? Why do women in foreign? I mean, do you mean why are they expressing their feeling? Confessing their feelings. Okay. See, we need to understand, Aditya, the social cultural perspective is very important here. Here in, especially in South Asia, women are not allowed to express or, share their opinions like men. Okay, it's a patriarchal society. And, unlike in foreign countries where they have they very openly talk about anything and everything, but here in India, if you're taking India, there are a lot of restrictions on women. I have read some women are not allowed to, if they laugh loudly, they judge their character. If they're not talking, if they're introvert, they judge their character. They judge based on their appearance. If they are wearing some short clothes, they are being judged. Okay, if their opinion, if they are expressing their opinion, they are called rude. So there are a lot of pressure, especially on women who are coming from conservative families. So that's the reason, I don't think it's a funny question, because it is really a serious problem. We need to understand that both women and men should be given equal opportunity to communicate. Yes. Any other questions? Any other questions? But the things that you mentioned, there are some women behind that, right? Why is that so? I didn't understand. Some women behind what? Like the culture. Of course, see, I don't blame men or women. It is both the responsibility of both the parents. Okay, because if my mother is saying me, you're not supposed to wear these clothes, you're not supposed to talk like this, you can't, talk loudly in front of. So and so, or in some cultures, you're always have to wear ghungat. Like, if it is all because their mother has trained them like that. Okay, their mother. And I'm sure all of you have watched Great Indian Kitchen. Did you watch the movie Great Indian Kitchen? So it's a very clear example how mother-in-law has trained her husband, and the son, from picking up the plates to everything. Okay, she has done all by herself, because of which the male members in the family thought that it is only the responsibility of women. And that particular, as you told, yes, there are some women, but I feel it's the culture, it's the society, the patriarchal society, which have decided that women are supposed to be like this, women are supposed to be in gungat, or they have to be here doing this, they have to be doing that. But right now I feel it's up to me. Like, if I really want to be in gungat, it's my wish. You can't judge me if I am in gungat. It's my opinion, it's my wish and will, it's my respect towards the culture. The same way, if I want to remove the gungat also, it's my interest, and it's my decision. So nobody can force me or influence me in that particular aspect. Yes. So any other question? And I think we can wind up here. We are already late at 29 minutes. If any other questions, any other things, you can WhatsApp me, and you can please send your feedback. I'll be happy to take your feedback and, improve myself wherever it is possible. Yes, I think I'm done. Nikhil, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Atilita, for coordinating with me. And now, yes, I think we are done. Thank you. Are we and I to judge someone, right? Yes, of course, we can't judge anyone. We are nobody to judge anyone. Yes, absolutely right. That's what I was telling, right?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for a wonderful session. Thank you, guys, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you. See you all. Bye bye.